One would have seen a lot of images of demolition coming from the national capital in Jahangirpuri in the last couple of days. We have seen shops razed to the ground. We have seen people taken aback with bulldozers razing the properties in this area to the ground. Now, the fact of the matter is the North Delhi Municipal Corporation calls it a drive against illegal encroachments, whereas now the Supreme Court taking up the matter with multiple petitions filed against this demolition drive. A huge lineup of lawyers, the likes of Sanjay, Hegde, Dushyant, Kapil Sibal, arguing against this demolition drive, and of course Solicitor General Tushar Mehta defending the drive. So what are the arguments that were presented in court? Dushyant argues that this is a drive that is targeted selectively at the Muslim community, at the minority community, and it is only their properties that are targeted. Now remember, this is happening close on the heels of the riots that took place in the very same area in Jahangirpuri on the occasion of Hanuman Jayanti. So Dushyant argument is that this is a planned demolition drive which has happened on the insistence of a BJP leader. Apparently there's a letter that has surfaced from a BJP leader to the mayor. Based on that letter, this drive is being conducted. That is one of the arguments made. The other arguments that Mr. Dushyant makes is that this is going on in other parts of the country as well. It's undemocratic and unconstitutional because no notices were served as per law to the affected families. Also, the other lawyers, for instance, Kapil Sibal argues that this is happening not just in Delhi but in other parts as part of a larger design. You have senior advocate Sanjay Hegde, who was actually representing a juice shop owner, claims that even though he had all the papers, his shop was still razed to the ground despite having all documents in place. So the larger argument here made by these lawyers is that here is a case of the NDMC acting at the behest of the ruling party at the centre with a clear agenda, with a vested interest. That is one side of the argument. Now let's come to what Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had to say in defence of this demolition drive. You had Mr. Mehta arguing that this is not the first time that this demolition drive is being conducted. Apparently it started way back in January and this is the 5th round. So his argument is it's part of the process, nothing to do with one particular community. Now interestingly, the court also intervenes at one point when it was submitted to court that only certain benches and chairs and junk was removed and no houses were demolished, to which the court questioned whether bulldozers are required for that purpose. But anyway, Tushar Mehta also argued that this has been unfairly brought up, this entire issue, whereas it is part of a natural process. It's part of a process that has been going on in terms of removing illegal encroachments. Also, he argues that in the case of Madhya Pradesh and Khargone, it later turned out that 88 families were actually Hindu families and only 26 were Muslim families. So he tried to argue against the fact that there is no such agenda against one particular community. But those are the arguments presented, with the court then observing that there should be a status quo now on this entire demolition drive for the next 2 weeks. All applicants, all petitioners have been asked to file affidavits and counter affidavits within this period of 2 weeks, and then the court will take up the matter after 2 weeks.